You're good.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Wednesday, December 30th special meeting. First, Chairman, would you make a roll call, please?
Certainly, sir. Mr. Brown?
Here.
Mr. Harkins? I'm sorry. That's my phone.
He's there, yeah.
He's here.
Okay. Mr. Ames?
Here.
Mrs. Becker?
Here.
Mr. Lennox?
Here.
Mr. Stanford?
Here.
And Mayor McCann?
Here.
Everyone's present, sir.
Mr. Chair, we in compliance with the Freedom of Information Act.
Yes, sir, we are.
Thank you very much. Need a motion for approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Bill and Glenn. Mr. Josh, do we need to go into executive session?
Yes, sir, there's a need for an executive session. I'll need to borrow your agenda here.
Sorry.
Executive session, discuss personal matters, discussion of matters related to contractual negotiations in connection with the town manager.
Move we go into executive session for the reasons set forth by Mr. Gruber.
Second by Mr. Glenn.
Mhm.
You gonna change this over now?
I will.
You got to vote on
You're
the
going to vote for
motion.
that, sir. I'm sorry.
Okay, everybody in favor of the motion? Good. Everybody's in favor of the motion.
All righty. Give me a second.
Okay.
Now go.
Okay, we're back in general session. Mr. Hawkins, you have a resolution?
Yes, sir. I move to authorize the execution and delivery of a contract with Marcus A. Orlando, under which Marcus Orlando will serve as town manager for the town of Hilton Head Island, South Carolina.
Second.
Okay,
Discussion.
we call a vote?
We need a discussion, sir.
Discussion.
Okay, have a discussion on this. Let's go from Mr. Brown. What are we? Mr. Brown first.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. In regards to the motion at hand, as I've made very clear in my my public statements thus far, although we have before us a very viable candidate, the process, well, at least to my satisfaction, and to the promise that I have made to the residents of the town of Hilton Head, that we would search for a town manager as a priority, but that the process be open and inclusive. From where I sit, does not meet my satisfactory. Now, with that being said, if my no vote is a sole no vote, I understand that we will have a new town manager at hand, and I will do my duty to hold him responsible and accountable for leading us forward in a fashion that's suitable to our community. I'd hope that we take a real close look at our organizational chart and put citizens at the top of it, and then trickle down from there. At least that'll be my first request and charge to the candidate at hand once hired. So I am, again, not so happy with the process, but in a position to move us forward. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Bill?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think, given the situation we're in, it's important to share with the public the chronology of events so that they can judge for themselves how well we've done in the process. And I, for one, think we've done an excellent job. This all began when Steve Riley, our town manager, announced his retirement. Following that, the town council began to prepare for a national search. We developed a request for proposal, and we sent it out to a number of firms throughout the country. The town developed an information packet. We reached out to many local citizens and asked them to contribute their thoughts on what was needed in this very important position. We asked them to think about the experience needed, the skills, the personality. We then developed a listing of town attributes as well as challenges, again, for review for potential candidates. We then developed a job description, agreed upon it, finalized it. And then we did, in fact, choose a firm to embark on a national search. And as Tammy mentioned earlier, we received some 118 resumes. Town council, with the help of the national consultant, we whittled that down to approximately 13 candidates. We had criteria that we shaped as well as the public, and that screening vehicle reduced this to a number of, I think it was 5. It was 5. And of the 5 finalists chosen, unfortunately, the search firm was only able to deliver 2. And when that occurred, many of us, upon reflection, were not able to generate what we all thought would be not adequate, but very strong support to pursue any of these candidates. So what did we do? We decided that the most strategic thing at that point was probably to take a pause in the search. Revisit the subject during the annual retreat, which is around the corner, and reconsider restarting the search during a period of time not to exceed 6 months. And so that's where we found ourselves up to several weeks ago. And then what happened? Literally out of the blue, we learned of another candidate who chose to submit his interest and his credentials for review. Each member on this call, each member of town council met with the candidate, and I, for one, was very pleased with the candidate, and I believe we've heard the same from everyone else on town council. And following the meeting with each member of town council, we were sensing a very, very strong, at a minimum, majority endorsement of this individual. So where are we right now? As of this moment in time, we find ourselves, in my opinion, and I think in the opinion of many of our colleagues here, with truly a stellar candidate, someone with considerable experience at the state level, at the Beaufort County level, and at the local level. In addition, we find this individual with a long list of publicly known and publicly admired accomplishments known throughout our entire community and, in fact, throughout our entire region. So it is my hope today that as we look at the situation that we're in, we truly view this as a celebration event. A celebration event not only for the town of Hilton Head and our region, but also hopefully a celebration for our candidate, Mark Orlando, and his lovely wife, Jackie. And I, for one, and hopefully others, would be very happy to extend the welcome mat to them. And as our motion indicated, ask the mayor to work with Mr. Orlando and head toward the consummation of a mutually acceptable contract. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Mr. Ames.
Thank you, Mayor. I suspect we may be repeating each other, but I think we each would like to add our comments. I'd like to begin by thanking people who have entrusted in me the responsibility to make decisions which I conclude are in the best interest of the island, and I believe we're doing that today. I am very enthusiastic about Mark Orlando's being Hilton Head's next town manager. He's done an amazing job in Bluffton. More times than I care to admit, I've envied Bluffton's can-do attitude and what it has been able to accomplish with limited funding. He deserves the accolades he has received. Why am I so positive? Because I have been watching Mark excel in three important areas: people, planning, and projects. These are critical to the island's future. People. Obviously, to me, and I think to the rest of council, people are the most important, and Mark has an outstanding record in dealing with staff and the community. I think I would characterize the Bluffton staff by its high morale, its upward mobility, the commitment to staff development, and its fresh ideas. Mark's community interactions are positive, open, professional, and engaged. Planning. I think Mark has demonstrated leadership in community-wide and regional planning. He has tremendous growth experience, which I believe the island needs. He has solid planning methodology that can be applied immediately to projects like the corridor. And projects. I think Bluffton and Mark can be proud that their projects have a hallmark of quality. Infrastructure development, parks, community facilities, historic structures, sidewalks, streetscapes, all to enhance Bluffton and make it a better place for its citizens. I believe Mark will continue being a regional leader and being a great leader here for the benefit of our island and its residents. And so I say, welcome, Mark Orlando, to Jackie and your family. I look forward to working with you to accomplish great things here on the island. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Tammy?
Well, I'd like to add to Bill and David's comments a very heartfelt welcome to Mark and Jackie and their family. It's my belief that we in the town of Hilton Head have gone through a process that's valid, that has been extensive, and as I know. So for anyone who's listening and wondering about the banging, my house is being worked on, and we're getting a new floor system. And so that's exciting news. Moving on. I just want to take time to celebrate the process that we went through. We included the public. We asked for their input as we created the profile of the ideal candidate from the citizens' perspective, from the business perspective, from staff's perspective. And in the end, that led us ultimately through 118 candidates to a gentleman with an outstanding reputation and an ability with the skills and personality to lead town of Hilton Head Island into the future, into great things as we become absolutely the best in the world, first class, and continue our successes. So without belaboring it, I believe in our process, I believe in our candidate, and I believe in our future. And I thank everyone, and I would love to ask everyone to join in the celebration as we move forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Lennox?
Thank you, John. I think Tammy has hit on the two critical elements of this entire exercise, and one is process and the second is candidate. I am more than comfortable and confident that the process will withstand the test of time, as will the candidate. We had a specific skill set that we were looking for related to public planning, community development, facilities and project management, as David described, staff development, fiscal responsibility, and most importantly, community engagement. Mark fits the bill in all of these. Couple that with strong interpersonal skills, and I am enthusiastic and encouraged about the future of this community under Mark's leadership.
Thank you, Mr. Glenn.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's been my privilege to work through this process with my colleagues. We have worked hard and diligently to find the very best person to fill this town manager role. If you look at the town code, the very first responsibility of the town council is to hire a town manager. This is not an election. This is a selection to be made by the elected representatives. We have heard that there was interest in having public input into this process. We responded to that by, in fact, inviting a number of citizens to comment on the proposal as it was being made through the national search firm. There was a plan that if in fact we got down to a number of finalists, that indeed the public could be drawn back into that to consult with that person. Unfortunately, as you've heard, our national search process did not work. It did not work in the sense of finding a number of well-qualified candidates. What that tells me is that we understand pretty well what the national market is for people to fill this position at this time. So as has been mentioned, we decided to take a pause in this. During the term of the pause, we learned that Mark Orlando had interest in this position. So what do we do with that? First of all, we think, do we make this public before we've made a decision? That is not fair to this candidate. That would put his job in jeopardy. That would jeopardize his family. And so what we did was we evaluated what his qualifications were. And I have worked with Mark over a number of years in various ways. And I can tell you now some of the reasons why I support this position. Number one, he has broad experience as a municipal administrator. He has a good education background. He has the professional qualifications and certifications necessary to fill this position. He has a good record of management of a complex organization. He has demonstrated the ability to work with others. He is knowledgeable about municipal finance and is creative in that area and has demonstrated that creativity in the past. He has creative thinking, particularly in land management, development, and planning. We need that fresh look here in this community. He has knowledge of the Lowcountry and its politics, has connections with the state, especially with SCDOT, which is going to be critical to us in the next several months. He has a passion for the job and a strong desire to work in Hilton Head Island. He has stated that it has been his career goal to be the town manager of Hilton Head Island. He has a solid family relationship. He has a totally clear background check. He's also very likable. And I would comment that he is in a mid-career status, so he could serve with us for many years. For this reason, I strongly endorse this candidate as town manager, and I look forward to working with him into the future. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Let's call the roll.
Yes, sir. Mr. Brown?
This is yes or no for the resolution.
Opposed?
Mr. Harkins?
Yes.
Mr. Ames,
Yes.
Mrs. Becker,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Lennox,
Yes.
I'm sorry, Mr. Stanford,
Yes.
Mayor McCann,
And yes, the yes is a 6-1.
6-1, sir.
Mr. Lando will be our new town manager. Thank you all. And let me read a notice that's going out right after this meeting is over here. The town of Hilton had today voted to extend a contractual offer to Mark Orlando to serve as the new town manager for Hilton Head. He currently serves as town manager for Bluffton. Our action represents the highest duties of the town council in employing a manager and determining what skills, experience, and personality are best suited to meet the needs and opportunities of the town. Our community and its citizens have invested countless hours into building our plan, which will serve as our future roadmap in the building of public infrastructure, parks, facilities, and sustain strength in our community. Now, council, with the potential support of a new town manager, and with the continued input and support of our community, must determine how best to allocate town resources as we seek to implement this plan's policies and objectives. To accomplish these goals, we need to demonstrate an experienced Mark Orlando as fully accredited manager with the International City and County Managers Organization, possessing a proven track record in the areas of managing public facilities and projects that we can see and touch, initiating community planning and development with incentives, the right kind of growth, creating and meeting appropriate budgets to finance town needs, leading and managing a high-performance staff, and encouraging professional development. Mark's successful history in public service is supplemented by his demonstrated ability to effectively communicate with elected officials, staff, and community, demonstrate sound judgment in all matters that come before him, appropriately manage change and accompany the stress that goes with it, publicly display his desire to engage with and enable communities, possess an unquestionable passion for our island and its people. Town Council has determined that Mark embodies the characteristics necessary to effectively meet the town's needs and therefore an ideal candidate for town manager. Given a substantial amount of his professional career and accomplishment has taken place 15 miles away, he is uniquely suited for this position and possesses knowledge that many other candidates would not simply have. Finally, Mark is well known to many on town council and town staff because of his work in the region. Many people may not be aware that he previously worked for the town of Hilton Head as an intern, a GIS analyst, a senior planner, and we're excited now to be able to him to come back full circle with us in his career. His reputation in Bluffton, Beaufort County, the Low Country, along with statewide regard is impeccable and professional is without question. This was demonstrated by his receipt of a resolution from the South Carolina House of Representatives recognizing his leadership and vision in the area of community planning and environmental sustainability. Town Council has concluded that his leadership, who is prepared to elevate our community and protect and enhance the quality of life, is in high confidence with Mark's capabilities and the character for those in this region. For this reason, he is the right choice for our next town manager. Additionally, additional information will be provided to the public upon successful conclusion of the negotiations with Mark. Amen. That's it. That will be out right after this meeting. Right, sir?
Yep, motion to adjourn.
A motion to adjourn? George?
So moved.
Tammy, second. All in favor, raise their right hand, please. Thank you very much, and have a great New Year, everybody. Appreciate it.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.